tax on unrealised capital gains is coming. Our new very left wing of the party-dominated Labor Party will be implementing it. It's an insane concept. It's when the government taxes you on your investments' capital growth in a year, not the income that you get from your investments, but the gain in the market value of the investments. So if you've got a house and it goes up from being worth $800,000 to $900,000 in a year, you'll be forced to pay tax on that $100,000, even though you haven't sold the house or got the money yet. So the same people to whom the tax is going to be paid will be the ones deciding on it. And it gets even worse because it kills the compounding effect.
This is absolutely crazy, and this affects everyone a great deal, but yet I don't hear too many people complaining. If you're at home now thinking, hey, this doesn't affect me because I don't have $3 million and I don't plan on having $3 million, that's the exact problem. They're going to debase currency so much over the course of the next few years that $3 million is going to be nothing. Just like $50,000 was a lot of money perhaps in the 50s, now $50,000 isn't a lot of money today, right? So $3 million is going to be quite common for a lot of Australians to have super, not just the 80,000 that have more than 3 million today, but it will become the majority super quick because they are inflating money, and when they inflate money, they debase currency, assets, the price of assets inflate, and also there is a shortage of supply. They're bringing in more migrants, property prices are constantly pushed up. So we are seeing the property market constantly rise. Now what happens is if they tax your superannuation on anything over 3 million, they're also not going to tax you on the realised gain. That means when you sell the asset, but they're also going to tax you on just that asset sitting there in your superannuation going up in value. So every time it goes up in value each year, they're going to do a valuation on it and they're going to make you pay tax on that. Now, how do you pay tax on that if you're a mum and dad investor who's just bought an investment property or two in their self-managed super fund, and that's to fund their retirement? And that is what superannuation is, right? This is why Paul Keating brought superannuation in. It's so that we have a self-funded retirement plan and we're not solely dependent on the government, right? That's what superannuation is for. That's what it's meant to be. So that we're not that burden to government, and so that we have money in our retirement. But yet, if we buy assets in our self-managed super fund, like property, which is an illiquid asset, and yet they're going to turn around and demand that we pay tax on an unrealised gain, where do we find money for an unrealised gain? Do we have to keep refinancing this property constantly to pay them? Or do I have to take money out of the wages in which we're already taxed 47 or 30% or whatever your bracket is, then take the money that you've already paid tax on to now go pay them each year the tax that they're demanding on an unrealised gain in self-managed super fund, which is, mind you, supposed to be there for your retirement. They're now coming for your retirement. They're not just your retirement, for your kids' retirement, for everything that you're supposed to be building to have in your golden years, right? So this absolutely makes no sense. Now, this isn't going to stop with just 80,000 Australians. This $3 million amount isn't indexed to inflation. So what that means is, as I touched on earlier, as inflation runs rampant, and we are seeing the destruction of the middle class. It's already happening. We watched it during COVID. We're seeing the cost of living skyrocket, right? So we're quickly seeing Australia become something that we're not used to, and the cost of living keeps going up, right? So we're going to see us become the haves and the have-nots, just like a lot of overseas countries. And if you really understand hyperinflation, like if you're from the Balkans like we are, or you're from Venezuela or Zimbabwe or anywhere, a lot of these third world countries, you will see and understand how it works. We're delusional if we feel that it's going to stop here, because it's actually going to continue. When have they ever brought in a law and taken away another one? Have you heard that famous Kerry Packer speech, where if you're going to bring in a new law, you should repeal an old one? Since I've been on this earth and before me, they keep bringing in new laws around taxes, but I've never seen them take any away or make it better, right? They keep giving you scraps each election to try and bring in votes, but the whole system doesn't change. So the way I see this is they're here for superannuation now for over 3 mil, which pretty soon you'll all have 3 mil and your kids will all have 3 mil. So 3 mil will be the standard, and the superannuation will be taxed at 30%. But they'll increase that as well at some point, because that's what they do. That's the pattern overall over the last 100 years, is to continually increase, not decrease. So now what happens after superannuation? Well, they'll come for what's in your trust. If you have property in trust, if you have a business. If you have a family home at some stage, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they'll come for your family home. How are you going to pay them the tax? Because the property is going up. Why is the property going up in value? Because they're debasing currency. There's a shortage of supply. Currency is being debased, your family home goes up in value, they're going to ask you to pay them because your family home's gone up. Eventually, this is just a taste of what's coming, but it's going to be a lot more than just taxing the 80,000 rich right now in their SMSF, or those 80,000 people that have over $3 million today. This is just the start, and if you can't see the pattern, this video is here to show you all that this is quite serious and this affects you and it affects your kids. I'm keen to know what everyone thinks. Throw it in the comments.